Obviously, he's not going to be used to playing this heavily on the tour. It's early in his career, you never know. But yeah, he looks phenomenal. Like the movement, the aggressive play, the positive attitude. That there's no negativity coming off of him. He just looks, unstoppable.
It's a pretty legit tactic that could be used on clay, especially because people are standing so deep on the returns. I'm surprised we haven't seen it a little bit more. I don't know, maybe players feel like it's a bit, goes against the code of conduct a little bit.
That's the thing that I'm most excited about for those remaining from our childhood that are on the tour, is I think the people that are still kicking about even now, as you said, they're going to make the best coaches, and they're going to be the ones that, we're going to be looking at celebrating the wins with the Alcarazes of the world. I can see what's going to happen. I've got a prediction.
Welcome back to the Getting a Grip Tennis Podcast. Obviously this week we're going to be reviewing what's happened in Madrid, because that's pretty much everything that's going on in tennis at the moment. And we'll be looking back at a little bit of Kevin Anderson, because he has retired in recent days, which was a little bit of a shock to some people, including myself. I didn't really pay much attention to what was going on with him, to be honest, in recent months. We'll be talking about that. Obviously, main place to start is in the Spanish capital, Madrid. Lots of big names also involved because it's a Masters 1000 event. All the big hitters. And if we look back on the semis specifically, we obviously had two big matchups. We had the young Carlos Alcaraz coming through up against Novak, who's kind of trying to find a bit of form, and then obviously Zverev, who's had a good history at Madrid, taking on Tsitsipas, who, again, he's got a strong clay court record, got to the final of the French last year. Let's obviously start with, where else are we going to start? With Carlos Alcaraz, of course. Is the name on everyone's lips. What have you made of this week and just this season so far, really?
I think we've seen that he's probably going to be the next GOAT. I mean, there's no other way to put it, really. He
don't want to jump to conclusions, but yeah, he's going to be.
No, but he just looks sensational. You watch his tennis, and it's like there's the meme that you sent me earlier. For anyone that doesn't know, it's very recent. The idea of combining the three greatest players of all time, and you pretty much come out with Carlos Alcaraz. So I think we're going to see a lot of winning from this guy. I think that he's pretty much as close to Madrid in the bag as possible, if I'm going to be quite honest. I'd be very surprised if he lost. I mean, you take down two of the big four from history and you don't win. I don't see that happening. Like I say, I think Zverev will be easy bait, unless obviously this exhaustion comes in. Obviously, he's not going to be used to playing this heavily on the tour. It's early in his career, you never know. But he looks phenomenal. Like the movement, the aggressive play, the positive attitude. That there's no negativity coming off of him. He just looks, unstoppable.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Like we were saying in previous podcasts, his game is pretty well rounded already. I mean, he still makes some errors, but because of the speed at which he's hitting, his grind strokes especially, you are gonna make some errors there, and I'm sure he will level that out a little bit over time, between the number of errors and the winners. I think, maybe the only area you could maybe pick holes in is this serve, but technique wise, maybe not enough rotation, but still, at least in Madrid, it's working well. I remember Novak was saying in his post match that the kick he was getting off that serve, particularly because of the altitude and the heat, was just ridiculous bounce. Novak was missing quite a few backhand returns, which doesn't normally happen. And obviously, he's got the drop shots are I thought Nadal's feel was good with the drop shot, especially on the forehand side, but he's got both nailed down. I think disguise was brilliant.
I agree with you completely, but I think that something like drop shots is something that lends itself to this tournament, and I think Madrid is used by a lot of players to play that sort of shot quite regularly. I mean, Murray at the start of the tournament, before he retired due to food poisoning, he was on unstoppable drop shotting form. So it's just, I would say it's less a feature that makes him outstanding and more an outstanding feature of the tournament. But the fact that he can tactically use that and use that so well, then yeah, he's adapted very well to it.
Yeah, I mean, he has used it on hard courts as well, like in previous months. Obviously, not as much as he's.
This is it. It's not as much.
Clay. But you can tell that he's grown up playing a lot on clay because he wouldn't have like have that feel for the drop shot if he hadn't needed to use it like so much in practice and matches and stuff previously. And it caught out Djokovic and Nadal actually quite a few times. And again, it's not a way of getting cheap points, but it's as a legitimate a winner as like a grind stroke is. So if you've got the skill to do it, then absolutely
like an underarm serve.
It.
It's a tactic. Like if it's within the rules, it's a tactic.
You and your bloody underarm serves. God, I think you've only tried that like once against me, or maybe twice. But I hate those. It
breaks rhythm, and that's why I use it. If someone stands a little bit further back, it'll break their rhythm. Even if they win that point, it's still a change up. So why not?
It's a pretty legit tactic that could be used on clay, especially because people are standing so deep on the returns. I'm surprised we haven't seen it a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe players feel like it's a bit goes against the code of conduct a little bit.
It was like that for a long time until the likes of Kyrgios and Bublik were using it quite regularly on the tour. So I'm thankful to those guys that it's made it a lot more regular because there was a point where people were saying, well, you should have to tell them if you're going to do an underarm serve, and it's just like, well, that removes the point, doesn't it? So if someone's going to stand that far back for a return, then they'd have to deal with it. Like,
yeah, I guess it's just one of these things that they also need to practice a little bit before they do it as well, and like how to disguise it and all that kind of stuff. But
big time.
We'll see it. I'm sure we'll see it more and more often as like the more players take it up, the more it just becomes like an acceptable thing, and people just kind of shift their mentality towards that. But yeah, obviously, we talked about Alcaraz a little bit, and then the other half, probably not as talked about, is Zverev, who's got a very good record at Madrid. Actually, seems to be finding a bit of form this week. His serve, especially, his first serve's been brilliant. He can't get a second serve in to save his life at the moment.
Bless him. It's either an ace or a double fault.
Yeah, I remember on commentary they were just like, just hit 2 first serves, mate. There's no point doing anything else.
He wouldn't be the first player to have ever made a career on the ATP Tour out of that either, because Fernando Verdasco during his career was a 2 first serve kind of guy. So, like I say, it's not unheard of, but like I say, it's not something that I would teach. Let's put it that way.
It is surprising though, because he is, how tall is he? Like 6'6" or something. Like he's one of the tallest guys around, especially in the top 20 or whatever. So you wouldn't think that even a second serve would be an issue for him, but he just, I don't know. They were saying in practice he hits them fine. So obviously it's just like some kind of mental block or something that they're going to have to work on. But if he sorts that out again, that'll just give him that extra little edge, and we'll put him up again into these latter stages of the competitions more regularly, because he's already an amazing player.
This is it with much of the top. I'm going to say the top 20, top 30 is pretty much all of them could be number one if they cut out the errors. They've all got some level of talent and they've got some level of ability. They have to make it that far. Like there's a reason they're winning matches and winning big matches as well. Like it all comes down to how much you make the ball. Yeah,
it's consistency, isn't it? I mean, Novak is like, his game is pretty much centered on that, just making 2 or 3 extra balls, and then the other player is going to make a mistake in one of those, and that's how you kind of get those extra points that you shouldn't normally get. And it's such fine margins at the top level.
It's very much the Andy Murray ethos of the grind, but making a ball doesn't mean you have to grind in a way that you have to move so much. Like you can make a ball that's still aggressive as well. Like that consistency, it's finding a pressurizing ball rather than finding a winner sort of thing. But like I say, everyone takes it differently, and everyone's bodies work differently. So you never know what someone tries to generate and what actually comes out at the end. So.
Yeah. So if we look forward to this final then, because we are literally recording this just before the final is going to take place.
Yeah, moments.
I mean, it's not going to be a surprise for who you're probably going to pick for this one. Are you going to go with Carlos Alcaraz by any chance?
I think I'd be a fool not to. I'll be quite honest. Yeah, he's without a doubt a shoe-in to win it, in my opinion. I maybe Zverev will give him a few tough games. Maybe the first set will be tough, but I think whoever wins that first set will probably win the match. More likely to be so if Alcaraz wins the first set, he will definitely win it in two. If Zverev wins the first set, I'd still back Alcaraz to come back, to be quite honest, and take it in the next two. So, yeah, I have to say it's him.
Well, he did come back from a set down against Novak as well, actually. In the
Exactly.
So, as we said before, like mentality is actually one of his stronger suits amongst many strengths that he's got. I'll say Zverev just for the sake of it. I think if he gets a high percentage of first serves in, then I actually think he's got a very good chance of winning. And I noticed this week, maybe it's because of the altitude as well, is he's being able to hit through people like really well from the back.
Again, the ball doesn't carry the same way when you're at that sort of altitude, which is it's really nice for those big hitters, the slappier sort of players. Let's put it that way, to be a bit more crude about it. Like, it's not going to travel as far and sail out the back of the court. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think he's got a chance, and absolutely, of course, he wouldn't have made it to the final if he didn't have a chance. But yeah, like I say, I think Alcaraz's game is smarter. Which is interesting, considering he's only 19. I think he's got better tennis brain than Zverev already.
Yeah, that was one of the things that stood out against Novak as well. Like his choice of shot, even in the big points. He was winning a lot of big points against Nadal as well.
Yeah. This is it, and this is what you expect the best players to do all the time. And there's no doubt who will become one of them. So.
Yeah, it's hard to remember exactly what like Nadal was like at the same age, because obviously people draw comparisons. I'm just trying to think of
similar. It's funny as well. Like we keep comparing, like in terms of the records and stuff like that. Like what he's doing at such a young age is what Nadal used to be doing. Like the likes of Djokovic and Federer. Yeah, they started to win young, but they didn't have this major talking point. You knew they were good, but the major talking point we always used to have with Nadal was the fact that, he was hitting maybe 1,000 RPM more spin than the next best tennis players on the tour who used like topspin for part of their game. Whereas Alcaraz, you could say the same, but not about spin, but just about the pace, the sheer pace of his forehands and backhands, those ground strokes. He just cuts through everyone. So, I think that's one of those things. It's a standout thing that makes him quite unique, especially at such a young age.
Yeah, it's exciting times, isn't it? Because you can tell, like the more experienced players, well, obviously like Novak and Nadal, etc., know that this guy is going to be like really important for tennis in general. So they're really like they are bigging him up, but they're not trying to put huge pressure on him. They're just saying
no.
He's at that level already. But obviously, there's a huge amount of work that has to go in to get anywhere near like what they won. That's he won't be thinking about that at all. But if he does keep his head on his shoulders and keep working as he's been doing, then and stay fairly injury free, then he's got a good chance of winning somewhere close to that amount. But anyway, that is a long way into the future.
Long way off, very long way off.
Okay, the other kind of main news recently has been the retirement announcement of Kevin Anderson, the old big South African, 35 years old. So I suppose that is actually probably like 10 years ago we'd have said that's really good, but because some of these like Novak and Nadal and some of these other big players still knocking about at like 35, 36, we don't even think of it as a particularly old age anymore. But
no, it's not.
It's still a amazing effort, like amazing career that he's had. I think he got to 2 major finals, and he lost to Nadal at the US, and he lost to Novak at Wimbledon. What are your memories of Kevin Anderson? I think I know which match you're gonna.
Yeah, you just got to come back to the big Wimbledon semi-final with him and John Isner, and that gives you. It was that year actually that I think Kevin Anderson found some serious form. He started winning more trophies on the tour, and his general play was just a little more than just heavy server. Even though, for someone who was so tall, he could actually move quite well, which is something that the likes of Karlovic and Isner, I don't think they ever quite found. for various reasons other than their height as well. Like, Isner's never been fully dedicated to tennis from, right from the start. Like, he has been obviously the last 10 years and whatnot, but I think he took a break for like 5 years to go to university in America anyway. So, like his early 20s, he didn't have that same build like the rest of them. I think that's right. But Kevin Anderson, he found some of that movement, and that match was incredible. Like, it was just serve. Oh yeah, they've won that game. Serve. Oh yeah, he's won that game. Ace, 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 ace. It's very entertaining, but at the same time, you kind of want to see the match end.
Yeah, this was before, obviously, they're now bringing in the fifth set tiebreak rule.
Quite right. Their match was one of the key reasons why.
It was 26-24 in that fifth set. I've literally just checked it. And wasn't it like I swear it was a really hot day. That summer was really hot.
It was, yeah. I remember actually being there, sitting on Murray Mound outside of centre court and watching them do this on the big screen, because it was just outrageous. How long it was going on for, and you could predict exactly what was going to happen. But yeah, it was good. It was good.
Friday the 13th it was as well.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm not saying he would have won against Novak anyway in the final, but that definitely did not help him at all.
No.
Which is why it's important that they've brought in this like new tiebreak rule.
One of those key reasons, exactly.
Yeah, my memories of him. Did he play Murray at Wimbledon at any point? I'm trying to think now. Murray against big servers was like, at Wimbledon was just always a thing. Ryan, etc. I don't know. But
I remember Murray Isner matches, but I don't remember Murray Anderson matches.
No, it was definitely, like you were saying, that year specifically. Well, 2017, 2018, when Anderson really hit like his top form of his career.
Absolutely.
The movement and the serve was always there, but his movement and hand were particularly solid during that time. So all best for him, whatever he decides to do next.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best in the next stage of his whatever career he ends up doing. These guys never leave tennis. They just move from one sector to another.
Either be like some kind of main coach somewhere, or like go into punditry or commentary or whatever. That's the normal thing.
Exactly. Oh, that's the thing that I'm most excited about for those remaining from our childhood that are on the tour. Is I think the people that are still kicking about even now, as you said, they're going to make the best coaches, and they're going to be the ones that we're going to be looking at celebrating the wins with the Alcarazes of the world. I can see what's going to happen. I've got a prediction, but. That's for another day.
That's if they all go into coaching, because obviously right now it's interesting because you've got like Ivan Isavic in Novak's box, you've got Juan Carlos Ferrero in Alcaraz's box, you've got Carlos Moya with Nadal, and they're always talking about like what their matchups were. From when they were playing, so it could be similar.
I think that they're going to want to keep this rivalry ahead. I think that there's an element of the GOAT status goes beyond just their individual singles careers.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see going forward.
I know who's going to be the best coach as well.
You're going to say Murray, aren't you?
Yeah, it's without a doubt. It's not a doubt.
I mean, he got the most out of his ability, so I wouldn't question that. And obviously his tactical brain is good.
His tennis brain is just unparalleled. I think it's ridiculous. Like he comes off of a match and he's like some sort of walking stats factory. Which is one of the things that I noticed the most in Madrid, like when he came off of Shapovalov, after beating him in those 3 sets, and it's like he could recount every single point and describe every element of it. It's ridiculous.
No,
he sees it like a road, like a path. There's some sort of map in his head of exactly how it goes. Sometimes I wonder if he knows if he's going to lose.
I struggle to keep scoring one game, to be honest. I don't even know what it's like 30 love or...
that's the difference between our level and their level.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like focus on getting the ball in. The score is like a whole other thing. But anyway, that'll be interesting going forward. Okay, it's the return of tennis trivia this week. Obviously, you've got the best score, and I was absolutely terrible last week.
Oh no, I don't think you were terrible. You got 3 out of 5 or something, didn't you?
No, I didn't even get that. I think I got 2.
You got 2 out of 5. Oh, you didn't even make 50%.
After you teed it up as like gonna get like 4 or 5,
Yeah, I thought you had some nice questions there. I mean, they were a little tricksy, but I thought they were quite nice.
Don't underestimate my stupidity. It's never fails to astound. Okay, so I mean, I'm hoping this week I've made them a little bit more difficult, but
Okay.
they will be interesting. So let's start it off with, well, we've always got to throw it back a little bit, back to kind of 80s, 90s, because you just got to do that. And I know you probably don't actually know that much from that time,
No,
so
I do not.
let's see. So the first question is, no, it's not which two players. It's two players met in 3 consecutive Wimbledon finals in 1988, 1989, and 1990. This is male players.
Okay.
One was Boris Becker. Not surprising, because obviously last week we talked about him winning quite a few Wimbledons. But who was the other player that he came up against in these 3 consecutive finals? So your options are Stefan Edberg, another one of the former player coaches, actually. He was with Federer. Andre Agassi, Pete Sampras, or Bjorn Borg.
See, the one person that crept into my mind when you asked me the questions to begin with isn't in your list. So that has narrowed it down slightly for me.
It has or it hasn't?
It has narrowed it down, because I can't think of many other people from that same era apart from maybe one of the others, but I wouldn't have actually picked him. I'm going to go with Stefan Edberg.
You are correct. Wow, I actually thought that might have caught you out, that one.
It nearly did.
How did you know that? Or was it just a guess?
It's just sort of ruling it out, because, the likes of Pete Sampras, it's too early for him. And some of the other contenders, I don't remember them being so prolific with Wimbledon. Or, well, I say remember. I wasn't there, nor was I alive at the time. But, yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. So, number 2. So, obviously with Alcaraz playing against Nadal and Djokovic this week, a lot of the commentary has been about, it's this kind of like intergenerational battle, changing of the guard, that sort of thing. So, on that theme, my question is, when did Federer beat Pete Sampras at Wimbledon in the clash of generations, if you want to call it that? So your options are 2000, 2001, 2002, or 2003.
So literally the first 4 years of the noughties.
Well, yes. You just stated a fact. Well done.
So is this the first time he beat him?
This is, I
Was it the
don't
only?
think they played another match at Wimbledon.
Oh, so it was literally like a changeover moment. Yeah, no, that makes sense over there.
But that's what it felt like at the
I'm
time.
thinking about when he won his 16th and he overtook his 16th Grand Slam, and he overtook, or 17th Grand Slam, I can't remember. And Pete Sampras was watching him break his record.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
That was what I'm thinking of, and that was obviously a lot later.
This was Federer in the ponytail days, obviously.
Ponytail days, yeah. I don't... See, obviously I remember... This is a final, right?
No, it wasn't a final.
Oh, it's not a final?
You can probably sort of use a bit of logic to work it out, because if you think about how old Federer is, you can probably get...
Yeah, this is what I'm gonna say it's between 1 or 2 for me, because I feel like there's 0 and 03 are too early and late. So I'm gonna go with 01.
Yeah, that is correct. Again, well done. Wow. I'm impressed. You're obviously much better at using logic than I am, because I failed at that last week.
I'm pretty sure it's quite random. I literally had a 50-50 option here with those two. So
it was 2001. So Sampras was expected to win his 5th straight Wimbledon at that time, and then obviously came up against the young Fed in his ponytail in the
what
4th
round
round.
was this? Do you know?
Fourth round. Yeah.
Okay, because Federer didn't win that year. Leighton did, didn't he?
Yeah, Federer, I think he got knocked out in the next round, maybe. And then, not sure. But then he didn't win it the next year. Federer didn't win it until 2003, I think, for the first time.
No, that's right.
So yeah, even then it can still take a bit of time. So even when we're looking
Yes, is it. You can scout the best in the world, and it still takes you a while to become them.
Yeah, so even when we're looking at Alcaraz now, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to win like a Grand Slam this year. It's possible, but obviously
possible with his form in Madrid. Yeah, you never know.
5 sets is another thing as well.
Imagine that's the changing of the guard. Him beating Nadal at Nadal's favourite tournament in the final.
Ooh.
Not that will happen. Actually, he's not highly ranked enough to. Well, unless he's in a different side of the draw. Oh, I don't. I'm not going there. I'm not going there until it happens.
If that happens, that'd be crazy. Okay, well, 2 from 2. Good start. Okay, next one is women's tennis. So, a pretty obvious question to ask, seeing as it's Madrid Open this week. Which female tennis player has won the Madrid Open singles the most often? And your options are Simona Halep, Petra Kvitova, Victoria Azarenka, or Serena Williams. This, I'd imagine, is a little bit more tricky than the previous ones.
Can you go through the names again for me, please?
Yeah, so it's Halep, Kvitova, Azarenka, or Serena Williams.
See, I never remember Williams being as great a fan, being American, of course, of clay. So I'm going to be tempted to rule her out of this. I've never... And Halep, I don't think, has that record, because she's been inconsistently amazing, if you know what I mean. Like, she shows up on certain
Very
days
hot or
and certain
cold,
tournaments. Yeah. But I do know Kvitova had a sort of unstoppable period for a few years where she was near the top for a very long time. My instinct's saying Kvitova, but Azarenka's not a bad shout. Oh god, it's tough. I literally don't know. I'm going to go with Kvitova just because I remember her winning quite a lot, sort of early, sort of the teens. Especially when she was like winning Wimbledon and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll go with that.
Well, interestingly, that is also correct.
That's
well done. Yeah, it's Kvitova. Yeah, she won it 3 times. Halep did win it twice.
Only 3? Okay.
Yeah,
actually, no, that kind of makes sense for the inconsistency of the WTA. Yeah. That's right.
I think I'm correct in saying it was 2011, 2015, and 2018. So they're actually more spread out than maybe you would think. But yeah, she was. That was. She won Wimbledon as well, didn't she? Around maybe it was like 2015 time or something, close to that time.
Yeah, it was. It was early. Oh god, it was like 14, 15, something like that. I think Kvitova's won it more than once, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think she did.
Yeah.
So yeah,
anyway.
Good. Well done.
Cool.
I thought these were going to be more difficult than that, but
no, I do remember Kvitova because I remember her coming up in a lot of times in the same side of the draw against Sabine Lisicki. So you know there are various players that obviously you follow, and like around Wimbledon time, like I tended to watch a lot more tennis. You know, I'm a summer tennis watcher. Some people are summer tennis players. I'm a summer tennis watcher. So anyway.
Well, nice. 3 out of 3. Okay. This one is, I mean, it's obviously a tennis question, but it's not so much about tennis players. It's a little bit slightly off-piste. So obviously there's been some talk about, you know, altitude, considering that Madrid is being played at a higher altitude than most ATP tournaments, certainly than other like Masters 1000 events. It's being played at around 550 meters. So obviously there's been a lot of talk about, you know, ball traveling further and all that sort of stuff. So my question for you is, which current ATP tournament is held at the highest altitude? Is it Gstaad, Kitzbühel, I think that's how you say it, Bogota, or Quito?
Isn't Bogota pronounced Bogota?
I don't actually know. That sounds like a really like posh English way of saying it.
Maybe it is, but I'm pretty sure I've heard it's pronounced Bogota.
No, surely not. That doesn't sound very Spanish. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna play the pronunciation.
Spanish, is it? Oh, okay.
Wait,
I didn't even know where it was.
Bogota. Yeah, you're right. God, he's on it today.
Bogota is actually different to what I said. I said Bogota.
So we're both wrong.
We're both wrong. And we're synchronised in it.
That makes all the difference. Okay, yeah. So do you want me to repeat them again?
Yeah, please.
So Gstaad, which I think is in Switzerland, Kitzbühel, which is in Austria, Bogota, which is I'm not really sure. Yeah, some South American country, and Quito, which is in Ecuador, so also South America.
Not gonna lie, the first couple of them I've never even heard of. So you could have thrown them in as just places that places that aren't. Oh, it's not even a tournament.
I've really researched this. All the answers.
They're not. Are they the top four? Are they?
I think they might be. Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Well, think about it. Like, if it's in Austria or Switzerland, it could be quite a high altitude.
Yeah, it's true. But I don't know. You just wouldn't put a tournament like somewhere in the Alps. It'd be hard to get to.
True. Yeah.
Whereas Spain, I know they like putting stuff up mountains.
Oh, the other two aren't in Spain; they're in South America. The last two.
Well, South America's similar because, well, they're effectively Spanish, aren't they? I feel like some potential viewers are going to be very unhappy with that comment. They are largely Spanish-speaking populations. Yeah, we've said the name so many times. We are going to go with. I'm going to try and say it right. This Bogota.
Bogota.
Well, it just all sounds wrong now. But I'm going to go with that. I have no clue.
It is correct. Well done.
It's not. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to guess how high it is roughly in meters?
I don't know, like... Well, you said that Madrid's like, what, 550, 600 metres, something?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, this can't...
You're getting pretty much everything right today, so you probably just get this bang on just by a complete guess.
It's going to be more than I think it is, isn't it?
the logic.
See, my brain wants to say, it's probably only like 900 metres, but I'm going to go with I don't know, 2,500, something like that.
Oh my god!
It's not. No, it's not. It can't be.
It's close. It's 2,600.
Is it really? Oh yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I know you can't really get much higher, like, functionally than like about 3,000. So I was like, well, that's the upper limits of human capability.
Well, I did put Quito in there. I mean, it could have been a curveball if you were like a real ATP fanatic, because it did used to be on the pro ATP circuit.
Oh, really?
Like a couple years ago, and now it's moved to like a challenger. That's at 2,800 meters. So
hell, okay.
That was pretty much like a favorite for the giant players, because like Karlovic would just fucking smash the serves. And no one would have a chance.
For the giant players. Yeah. Jesus. Well, so they can be even higher altitude.
Yes, yeah, pretty much. As if it wasn't unfair enough as it is, yeah.
I know, Jesus, wow.
All right, okay. Here we go then. Last question. This is for another.
I feel like I need to buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, may as well go for it now. Although it's usually on Saturdays, isn't it? We'll get it for next week, yeah.
Luck will run out by then.
This last question is a little bit off track as well. I don't know why I picked this question, to be honest.
Do it.
So this might be a bit of a throwback. In medieval times, monks used to play tennis with something that wasn't a tennis
palm, I take it.
Yeah. So they used to play tennis, but obviously not with tennis rackets. So the question is, what did they use instead? You're probably just going to get this because the answers are so stupid. So their heads, parchment, their hands, or
their hands. It's their hands. Because do you not remember when I did the history lesson?
Well,
and I said that the original tennis was potentially jeu de paume, which was a game of hands. I'm going to say hands. If it's anything else, it's just stupid. That's not tennis. If it's with their feet, it's called football. If it's with their head, it's not... I don't know what that is. And with parchment, are you kidding me?
You cannot be serious, man. Yeah, it is correct. Yes, it's hands. What else could it have been? Like, yeah. I think
exactly.
this
What
was
else could it have been?
This is probably me putting an easy question in, thinking that you wouldn't have got 4 out of 4 on the other ones.
So you're thinking I tanked everything, and then
I'm thinking that I would have tanked everything. Yeah.
I'll take that then, 100%.
Probably still would have said something stupid.
Are we going to get little confetti cannons next to me now?
Oh god. I mean, I can try.
Yeah, well, you got to edit it, so.
Yeah, so there you go. 5 out of 5, and we're about to be cut off, so I'm going to have to wrap this up really quick. Yeah, 5 out of 5. God, I've got out my game for next week. Don't make the questions easier though, because I don't want you to feel sorry for me.
Pity questions.
But please don't use something to do with the colour of a tennis ball, because that is just ridiculous. He says, having asked a question about monks playing tennis with their hands. But anyway, yeah, so that wraps it up for this week. Thanks for giving it a listen or a watch. So yeah, if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, give it a follow. YouTube, subscribe, like it, share it around, all that stuff, and turn on the notification bell. And we will see you next week.